Bishop. Have you ever lost anything in your life? Were you upset about losing it? Now, I would like you to raise your hand if you're thinking about a loved one. Now look around. No one raised their hand. Because many people's first response to losing something is an object. In the poem that I will read and talk about today was written by Elizabeth Bishop. Elizabeth Bishop was born in 1911 and passed away in 1979. And like many other famous authors, Bishop's work didn't receive lots of attention until after her death. Bishop was a perfectionist who liked to spend long periods of time on her work and only published 101 poems throughout her lifetime. In this poem, Elizabeth Bishop did a great job making you realize losing something is more than an object. I would like you to think about that and keep an open mind while listening to this presentation. I will now read the poem. One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last, or next to last, of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster. Some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, I shan't have lied. It's evident. The art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like disaster. This poem is basically about losing things that aren't important to the author, ranging from smallest of material objects to things like the keys and watch that she mentions, to things that can't be held or seen, such as places and names. But it also has a deeper meaning, which will eventually be revealed. The first stanza of this poem reads, "The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster." In the first stanza, the speaker chooses to turn the idea of loss into an art form and tries to convince the reader and herself that certain things inherently want to be lost, and that when they do get lost, it's nothing to cry about because it's bound to happen in the first place. This is a fatal approach gracefully accepted by the speaker. The second stanza says this: "Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master." The first thing Bishop says in this stanza is lose something every day. And basically just accept that you're going to lose it, and once it's lost, move on. Things like keys and time, which is not something people typically think about losing, by the way, are just supposed to be absent from your life for no other reason than they are. The third stanza states, "Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster." Now the reader is being told to consciously lose something, to practice the art. Irony sets in, as well as the idea that the mind is a central focus here. Because what Bishop is telling us to lose is abstract. things such as places and names, perhaps on a personal level. Time once again arises as a problem because at this point, losing track of names and places means that we're getting older. But in the end, we can handle the losses no problem. The fourth stanza says, I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last, or next to last, of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Again, the emphasis is on time, specifically family time, with the mother's watch being lost, which is surely symbolic for something that happened in the poet's life. And note that the speaker is in the here and now when the words, and look, appear in the first line, telling the reader that 3 loved houses went. We're not sure where they went. We only know they were definitely lost, never have been calling home. The 5th stanza reads, I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster. Some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. The build-up continues with this stanza. Emotional attention is still not apparent as the reader is now confronted with the speaker's loss of not only the cities where they used to live, but the whole continent. This seems drastic. To go from a set of house keys to a whole continent is crazy. It makes you wonder how much more can the speaker endure. Disaster still hasn't happened, but she does miss what she had and possibly took for granted. In the last stanza, the author writes, even losing you, I shan't have lied. It's evident. The art of losing, not too hard to master. Though it may look like disaster. The opening dash in the final stanza gives it the feel of almost an afterthought. And the use of adverbs, even into it in connection with a loved one, reveals something quite painfully rational. The personal gives way to the impersonal, and she admits finally that the art of losing is hard, but not too hard to master. And the last line, right, in italics, emphasizes the act of setting something down, of needing to make it exist. Notice that it is not italicized. The meaning of it, the message of mastering loss, is not highlighted so much of act of writing. We can understand this as forcing oneself to write what is felt, but not really believed to be true. The exclamation mark connects with line 10's. And look, the poem's only other. Essentially, look at the act of writing and the attempt to master loss. The reason I first chose this poem is because I recently lost something, so I thought I could relate. But as I started to read it more, I realized it really makes you think. At first, what you hear about is all the things she's physically lost, but then as the poem continues, you realize that she isn't just describing material objects, she talks about things she misses and places she's never gotten to go. And when I realized this, it made me think about all the things I recently lost and what the people around me have lost. I lost my purse, some money, and some headphones. But my friend just lost her dog. You hear about people on the news whose houses have been burnt down, or realize you don't talk to that friend anymore who moved away in 8th grade. Friends, lovers, family, homes. These are the things that we lose daily, that Bishop was trying to explain. These are the important things that we let fade away. I will now have you listen to the same speech given by someone else.
Sophia Wilcott, Harborview High School, St. John, New Brunswick.
One art, Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places, names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch. And look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones. And vaster, some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, the gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing is not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster.
Done? I lost the step.